All right, so in this video, I want to go over a couple really important things that I have seen people get hung up on, so I just want to get ahead of it. So as you can see here, I'm on Visual Studio Code, and you can see I'm on 3.9.6. Down here, you can always see what Python version you're on by seeing 3.9.6. Now you can see I have this new Python 3.1.0.6. Now, the reason I want to make this training here is because some people have issues implementing or getting Python 3.8.5 installed. I know in one of the previous videos I said use Python 3.8.5, and that's great if you can get it installed, but if you can't, then this video is for you. And I want to kind of tell you the importance of this. It's not super crazy important that you have the same version as I do. I want to say that straight off the bat because I've seen that holding people up or a question asked about that. So if you can't get 3.8.5 installed, then just use 3.10.6. And here I want to show you a couple things. So this is something that was confusing to me when I got started. You can actually access the terminal two different ways. The terminal is where you put weird code in. So you can see up here, and I say new terminal here, and you can see I'm activated here on my TensorFlow already. So what I could do to deactivate, and this right here where I am, you can see it's a terminal. It's the same thing as if I go to, and let's go ahead and say new terminal here. Just wanted to explain this because to me it's confusing, or it was confusing when I got started. You can see this one, it says base MacBook Pro. This one says T-Flow base MacBook Pro. So can you see the differences there? Make sure it's nice and big here. Okay, so you can see on the terminal, this is like the terminal without Visual Studio Code. This one says base, so I'm on the base layer. This one's base layer, but then also on the Conda layer. So here I could say Conda activate T-Flow, and now it's on the T-Flow layer. But if I wanted to get out of there, and just keep an eye on this because this will always tell you where you are when it comes to Conda environments. I could say Conda deactivate, and it will deactivate. Now I'm back at the base. What I want to do now is I want to show you again how to get everything pip installed after we get the Conda activated. So first off, I want to go ahead and show you. Well, first, before I get there, let me show you. You can always post questions here. You know, I have this team of quants and Python developers here that literally help me out. So everything that I get, my whole thesis is if everything that I get, if I give, then you guys are going to be able to do this so much better than I did because I had to do it all myself. But we have a code help section where whenever you have questions, we'll answer them here. So if you ever have a question, you know, just go ahead and check it out here. Say Pandas installing Talib or something like that. Okay, well, the answers are already here for the most part. And if they're not, just ask them. Just ask them. You can read the pinned post here and just to see how to ask the questions to get the best answers. Check that out at any time that you feel lost. We're here with you. We're holding your hand. You're not alone. I know this stuff, depending on your skill level, this stuff can be really hard. Like it's new. And we're here with you. So just I wanted to reiterate that the code help section is where we are at all times, here to help you if you ever have any questions. All we do ask is you check out the pinned post and you try to provide as much of this information as possible. So let's go ahead here and you can see the differences of T-Flow versus base. I could say here though, I could say Conda deactivate. I didn't spell it right. Conda deactivate, and now we're on the base layer. So you can see these are really the same thing. They're just in, this is in the Visual Studio Code while this is not in the Visual Studio Code. So now that we have that, what I want to go ahead and do is show you how to get installed again, because I know I throw a curveball at you there of saying, hey, you can use 3.1.0 too. So you have to download Anaconda I showed you in the past video how to actually download Anaconda, but if you've made it this far, you probably already did that. Now, this is to address the problem. If 3.8.5 does not work for you, then go ahead and say Conda create. So before I do that, you can see here, if I say Conda list, it will show, well, I don't want to confuse you. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So I Conda deactivated. You can see here, I'm on the base layer, and I want to show you how to use 3.10.6. It's super easy. Instead of 3.8.5, what I showed you before. So I said Conda create -- name. And then you can name it whatever. I'll call it example. This is the name. So yours can be anything here. Yours can be quant. It can be T-flow, whatever you want your name to be. It literally doesn't matter. This is where you get to put your name. So I'm just putting an example. And then here, this is how you connect to Python, equals 3.10.6. So in the last video, I said 3.8.5. That's great if you got there. If not, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. We're going to be able to work with pretty much any Pythons. But this is how you Conda create the 3.1.6. It will ask me yes or no. Let me go ahead and say yes. And then once this is all installed, you can see, I know this is ugly, but it says to activate this environment, just use this. And this $ is the start. So that's just how they do it in coding. Conda activate example, because example is the name. And then you can also Conda deactivate. So I could Conda activate example, and then you can see it changes to example. And down here, if I did it, remember, this is the same thing as this. It's just in different modes, pretty much. You can see now I'm in example. Now, what do I want to do if I want to get rid of that? I can say Conda deactivate, activate, and now I'm back in the base layer. So here I can do the same thing. Now, if I needed to make another environment, think of environments as little boxes of your projects. So for all of my algorithmic trading stuff, I pretty much put all of that in one box. It's actually more of like a storage building. I feel like Anaconda environments are like storage buildings. So this example here I just created is like a storage building. Everything for my stuff that's algo trading, I put in that building. But if I have some website stuff, I might make another Anaconda environment. To me, it doesn't matter too much. It doesn't matter too much. All that matters is this. So when I say Conda activate example, or if I do it over here, it's probably better. Conda activate example. What I'm trying to say is not all of these environments have your things installed. So you saw how we installed stuff, we pip installed stuff. If I said import ccxt, I'm actually on the environment that I was supposed to be on, but like if I were to do that without being on the right environment, it will show that it's not installed. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure, let's get on the environment that you want to use. So if in the last video you were able to do 3.8.5, that's fine. If in this video this solved it for you where you're now on 3.10.6, that's awesome as well. But this is how you do it. So you say Conda activate example. You see I'm already in there. And just in case you're not already in there, let's say Conda deactivate. Okay, you see I'm on the base layer. I'm not in the Conda environment. Remember, the Conda environment is like my storage building. I need to make sure that all of my packages are installed in my storage building. So if I were to start saying pip install here, it would pip install into the base layer, but we want it in the example layer or whatever your name is. Now, in the other videos, my name is like quants or T-flow. So I'm going to say Conda activate example. And now I can say pip install ccxt. And anything I installed now is put into that layer. So in the example layer of Conda. So now I want to go ahead and install some other things. And these things are super important. Go ahead and make sure that all of the things that I've shown you already are installed. Let's go ahead and install a bunch of stuff here. These are just going to be useful things. So I'm going to say pip install, and here's another way you can install it. It's pretty cool. By the way, I'm using Command L right now, and that's deleting a lot of the terminal, just making it look cleaner. So that's Command L. I just learned that one, so I'm glad I'm able to send it to you. So let's pip install a bunch of stuff here, and just make sure, you know, whether you're watching the last video or this video, that you get all of these things installed. And I'm going to go over Pandas TA and Talib, which are sometimes hard to install. So first, let's install everything we need. So let's say we already pip installed CCXT. We need to have requests in there. And what's cool is you can actually just go ahead and do it like this. We need pandas in there. It's just one space in between them. We need NumPy in there. So we have request. It says pip. Oops, I didn't do this right. I'm sorry. It needs to say pip install. Pip install. Pip install requests. And then you can have a space and say pandas, and just in case you didn't put it in there, CCXT. I like to have Y finance. I also like to have NumPy, and let's stop there. Make sure all of these get installed. So pandas is in there. Request was already installed, it said. So I know this is ugly to read, but it is what it is. Downloading pandas, so it's on the second one here. And then it should go to CCXT, but I think we just installed that. Remember, it has to be in your Anaconda environment. So I showed you a couple of times in one of the past videos how to set up an Anaconda environment. I showed you again here just because this is so important and I don't want you to get stuck here. I want to make sure this gets through. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a super, super important thing with how to install Talib, because that is sometimes not very fun. Now, remember, if you have any questions or anything, we're here for you at all times. So go ahead and post any question in here. All I ask is you go ahead and read the pinned message to try to give us as much information as possible. So you can see this is taking a little bit of time to install, but that's okay. So now it's going on to the next one, and it's installing some other stuff. So Python, Y finance. Okay, now it's done installing everything. So I think we have a few more things we want to install. Let's go ahead and say pip install matplotlib. Matplotlib. Let's pip install schedule. And then let's pip installs pandas TA. So when you're in doubt of how to install something, it's super easy. You just say pip install pandas TA. It's just because sometimes the wording is off. It's different, like you see is pandas -TA. So I'll also pip install pandas TA here. Let's install these two first so you can see how I can just copy this. So pip install pandas TA. So that's in a super important package. Now, the package that's tricky to install that you definitely need, and you can see if you go ahead in the questions section and type in Talib, people have problems with this, importing Talib. Now it's a little different for Windows versus Mac, but I think this solution that I'm about to show you works for Windows and Mac. And if it doesn't, I have a solution for Windows. Now, this time we're going to say conda install -C. Well, first off, usually what you're going to see here, if you try to say pip install Talib, it's going to say to just install it this way, but this doesn't work. It might work. You can try it out if you want, but I would just skip that and don't have the headache. This is going to save you a few hours of time, and that's what this whole bootcamp's for, is to save you time from my experiences. So instead of trying to pip install it that way, just go straight to this. Conda install -C, conda -forge, Forge. So conda install -C, conda Forge, Forge, Talib. And this is going to save you so much time. So if this doesn't work for you, you can try this one here. But this is the one that has worked for me, and Talib is tough to install. So that was super easy, right? Because I showed you the answer instead of having you run around and try to figure this out yourself. Now, if you can't figure it out still, if it doesn't work for you, just type into here Talib, and one of our quants here, Crypto Moonrader, he has this guide here that will allow you to do this for Windows. And you can see it takes you to this link. You actually have to remove this part of the link. So this is just if that didn't work for you. It should work, in my opinion. If it doesn't work or you're on Windows, then you can go to this Talib here and follow Moonrader's suggestions here. So this should work for you though, so I'm not even going over that. But again, we're here with you this whole time. So if you have any questions at any time, check out the code help and ask any questions there. This was a super important video because I'm going back through and making these videos wherever anybody gets stuck, and people have gotten stuck here a couple times. So this is super important. And in order to do the RBI process, remember, we don't want to run straight to the bots. There's no point to running straight to the bots. Maybe you have a profitable trading strategy from experience already, but still, even if you do, I highly recommend to back test that strategy first. So I'm going to show a lot of back testing throughout this, because from what I've learned over the years, that's where all the success is from. It's from researching strategies and then back testing to see if they work. Sometimes it's tough because if you're coming from actually being a trader and then you look at your strategy in the past and it doesn't work, that hurts the ego. Yes, it does. I had that same situation, but at the end of the day, you came to me to show you everything that I've learned. And this is one of the most important things, is making sure to stay in the research and backtest phase until you have a ton of backtests that work, because not all backtests are going to work in actual bots. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, look at this backtest on YouTube or whatever, but I'm here to tell you that not all backtests work in real bots. So try to find like 5 backtests that work for you before implementing into bots. I want to just check here to see if there's anything else I want to go over in this training video. The next videos, we're going to build a couple projects before we dive deeper into this process. I think that's about it. I showed you how to get Pandas TA installed and Talib installed, which are super important. And then I showed you again how to work with Conda, and you can see I'm in the example Conda now. And if I wanted to get out, I'd say Conda deactivate. But remember, you can get right back in by saying Conda activate and then the name, whatever it was. So example. So I'm back in, and Pandas TA and Talib and all of the other packages we'll be using are in this layer now. And yeah, I hope this has been enlightening, and I will see you in the next video where we will build out a couple projects.